In less than 10 minutes, you are going to equip with a high-profile trap against the London system, which you can apply instantly and get some cool victories. After d4, I am going to advocate you start with the Queen's Gambit decline structure with either of the move order, let's say d5, bishop to f4, knight to f6, e3, and now e6, this trademark Queen's Gambit decline structure, whereupon if you look at the database, knight to f3 has been exclusively played here, and this straight away enter into the classical London system, where of course black has tried many moves, but my move is not even in top 10 choices. Are you ready for the surprise? Just look at this, guys. Knight to e4. What a move! And by playing this, not only we centralize our knight, but as happened in many cases, some of the top choice from the database, let's say bishop d3, c3 or c4, run straight away into our trappy territory. Now before I show you the trap, one important point I like to mention that white can avoid this trap by playing either knight b to d2 or h3, but in that case black get a very easy setup, and I'm going to demonstrate those lines at the end, so make sure you watch the video until the end. After database top choice bishop to d3, here comes the move which sets up the amazing trap, and that is g5. So we are attacking the bishop, and accordingly white has few choices. Number one, if bishop to e5, that doesn't change the story, as after f6, bishop to g3 and the move h4, more or less this enter into the main line. So that's why by far at this point the main move is bishop to g3, and no surprise for black's next move h5, where actually we are threatening to take down this poor baby. Okay, white has to do something, and first blunder they can make over here is bishop to e4. After this, the simple sequence, pawn takes e4, attacking the knight, knight to d2, h4, bishop e5 and f6, what else? Winning the piece at just 9th move of the game. So that variation is right out of the equation. White will play either the move h3 or h4, let's say h3 is a top choice, and in that case, now we see the point of centralizing our knight, as we can chop this bishop, give white this horrible pawn structure, and now the easiest plan in the picture is bishop to d6 and target that juicy g3 pawn. Okay, white has two options. If you play knight to e5, this is worst because we can play knight to d7, and please note this knight cannot move as the g3 pawn drops with a check. So accordingly white's best move here is to castle on the king side. After this, black can simply win the pawn and emerge with a great advantage from this position. Okay, that is about knight to e5. What about king to f2, trying to save the pawn? Well, more or less same story. This time black has a very strong move, queen to f6, and our threat is g4, so white has to play g4, whereupon I propose this simple sequence, e5, trying to get the piece, so white has to take it. Now we take with the bishop, and threat is on b2, so accordingly white has two choices. If you play knight to c3, then you can play c6, and the resulting positions are quite good for the black. So in one game, my 2400 rated opponent continued with c3, trying to defend this threat, but what he missed is pawn takes g4, pawn takes g4, rook exchange, and now very simple move, bishop takes g4, where I have a very simple idea, and that is knight to d7 and castle on the queen side, where if you look at the white position, not only he is a pawn down, but his king hardly described as a safe piece. Okay, what about h4? Well, the same story goes, we take on g3, pawn takes g3, and this time we can even play g4 and harass this knight. After knight to e5, I simply propose you continue with knight to d7, attacking this knight, so white has to take this knight. But after bishop takes d7 and the move c5, once again black emerged with a completely dominating position in this line. The point is you are threatening c4, so white has to play c3. And now let me demonstrate a grandmaster game from here where black really tricked white with queen to b6, attacking on b2. White thought b3 will compromise his queen side, so he played queen to c1, but after bishop to d6, king to h2, black played just one move and white get a completely lost position. I wonder if you can spot it. Congratulations if you find the move queen to d8. Well, the threat is very simple, queen takes h4, and even though white can see this one is coming, he can hardly stop it. Now, as I promised, let's check out what happens if white doesn't fall for the trap with the move knight b to d2. Well, after this, I propose this very simple sequence. First, you capture this knight. Then you play bishop to d6. So if white exchange, then we are more than happy. So most of your opponent continue with bishop to g3. And exactly here, we play b6. And as you can see from the arrows, very simple yet very effective plan of campaign by the black. And it doesn't matter how wayward white plays. Black equalizer cannot be denied. Recently, I achieved this position against a grandmaster where the game continues like this. My opponent plays bishop to d3. I simply continue with bishop to b7. And after c3, queen to e7. And because I was weaker than him, he decided to castle on the queen side. After this, we know what is coming. Yup, knight to d7. Okay, white plays queen to c2 at 6. And now because black king is caught in the center, white opened the center with e4. And here we have the massive exchanges. Pawn takes e4, bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4 and queen takes e4. Of course, at the end, black cannot castle on the queen side. But I can do castle on the king side. And just look at the engine evolution here. It says it's completely balanced. And whoever play better, obviously, he is going to win the match. Of course, I lost the game in the time scramble, but I must say, if a grandmaster cannot do anything to me until 30-40 moves, then the opening is a huge success. That's it guys, I hope you like this super surprising line against the London system. I insist you to try this on the different chess website and give a very hard time to passive London player. Thank you for watching this. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment, and I will see you in my next episode very soon. Bye and take care.